This is my YouTube video lesson as my final project for Anthropology 101. So today I'm going to talk about primate social organization. I really love studying how humans organize themselves to make effective social systems, or sometimes ineffective systems. How humans work together and live in groups with quite a bit of variance among different cultures, yet each culture figures out a highly intelligent way to effectively coexist together. Primates do the same. That's why primate social organization is one of the most interesting areas of primatology, really anthropology to me, because it shows the natural origins of that inclination to socially structure yourself. So we're going to dive right in. For the sake of this lesson, we are going to let our green primate faces represent females, and our males are going to be represented by yellow. So the first group that we're going to talk about is solitary social organization groups. Just like it sounds, you're on your own. Primates that follow solitary social organization, the males and the females pretty much live separately and alone from each other. The exception during this would be during the mating season, because for the sake of procreating, they have to have some interaction. So their territories will oftentimes intersect a little bit. So they're going to interact a little bit during the mating season. As soon as mating season is over, the female will go off with her offspring and raise her offspring on her own, and the male will go off independently. One example of this would be orangutans. The next group we're going to talk about is monogamy. So this term we're definitely familiar with. A lot of these terms we're going to be pretty familiar with. Now, monogamous relationships among primates can either last for one mating season or for a lifetime, which is not abnormal. So essentially, either they're going to have the same mating partner for their entire life, or for a mating season, and the next mating season they'll have a different partner for the whole time. One example of monogamous primates would be gibbons. There's also some marmosets, lemurs, and tarsiers that follow this social organization. The next social group that we're going to look at is called polyandry. This may be a term we're not as familiar with. Poly means many, and andry means males. Not only are we not too familiar with this term, but it's a very rare social structure among primates. This means that there's one female to at least two males, sometimes more. This is primarily prevalent among tamarins because when the female gives birth to offspring, she gives birth to twins. So essentially creating a one offspring to one male match for raising that offspring. The next two groups that we're going to talk about are different types of polygyny. Now, we're probably a little more familiar with this term, meaning one male to many females or just multiple females. Poly, many, gyny is females, so polygamy. The first one we're going to look at is single male polygamy. This is, just like it sounds, one male to many females. Now, we see this primarily with gorillas. That's the most well-known single male polygamy primate organization structure that we see frequently. There's often one male who has essentially fought his way to the top to earn control of a designated territory and the right to mate with a certain group of females. We see a lot more sexual dimorphism start in the single male polygamy and multi-male polygamy or social structures because there's fighting components among the males to determine who gets the rights to the territory. And the females, oftentimes the larger male will defeat the smaller male, thus the sexual dimorphism that develops. Different topic for a different day. So the next one we just mentioned, multi-male polygamy. This means multiple males to multiple females. Now, this is actually a pretty interesting social structure because within this group, there is sometimes different subgroups within the main social group that have different hierarchies. The most common primate that we know of, familiar primate I should say that we know, are chimpanzees that follow this sort of structure. Finally, we're going to look at the bachelor system, which is just like it sounds, all males. Now, this social structure is actually pretty interesting because it will form because of other social structures oftentimes. Sometimes from the solitary social structure, those independent males will end up forming all male groups. And then oftentimes we see it from the single male polygamy groups because if you have one male to multiple females, there are probably a lot of other males that don't really have a spot or a group. So they end up forming their own social structure. Sometimes the bachelor group will end up challenging males over single male polygamy groups or multi-male polygamy groups, and then if they win, then one of these males wins, then they'll take control of the territory. So that's essentially primate social organization in a nutshell. It is a great starting point to talk about other social behaviors among primates and social sexual dimorphism like I discussed. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for listening.